Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for July 24th, 2025. We've got Renaissance and Hinterlands today. The trashing is Priest. There's Ducat doesn't thin, but in conjunction with Priest, it can get you some money back, so that could be pretty nice. Also can get you villagers with Sculptor. The plus actions in potentially Piazza, and then Sculptor and Patron can gain villagers. They're never like gonna give you more actions, more terminal space within a single turn, but you can store up some villagers and potentially use those. And then there's also Scepter, which could get you villagers that way. Like replaying one of these, you could store up some villagers that way, but also you can just like replay some terminal. Draw is just Swashbuckler, and then gains Ducat is the only plus buy, and then there's also gains from Weaver, Sculptor, Improve, Farmland in a sense. Oh, there's also Fair for plus buy, and then the Swashbuckler, you can get the treasure chest to gain golds, which is potentially pretty relevant with Farmland on the board because you can farmland those into provinces. Another thing to note is that in discarding Weaver makes Weaver non-terminal. So we're definitely going to want to play with Priest. Thinking about like what we're ultimately trying to do here, I do think trying to get the treasure chest makes sense. I also think it should be pretty doable. You've got in to set up Swashbuckler, and the trashing isn't super fast, so I think we're at least a little less likely to end up in that situation where we can't like avoid either like triggering a shuffle or can't find a Swashbuckler early enough or whatever. Also, Ducat giving coffers can set up taking the treasure chest sooner than you would otherwise, so that's all nice. Yeah, so want to play with some ins and some Swashbucklers. I think Weaver looks reasonable. I don't know that we'll want a ton of them, but at least one Weaver that plays nicely with the ins. I'm not sure. I mentioned Scepter. I'm not sure about that. I do think Scepter, like playing some patrons to accumulate some villagers so that you can just like play Swashbuckler without needing as many ins as you have Swashbucklers, like has, I think there is something to that. I mean, of course, Scepter is also a card that, like, effectively in that context would reduce your hand size, though you can then later use it to replay Swashbuckler if that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be like a super clean deck type of situation. So for the opening, as I already mentioned, we're going to want to get Priest. Do we want to get Silver? I mean, basically the options are Silver, Ducat, Improve. I don't love opening Priest, Improve. I'm not sure I like Improve here in general. And I mean, I guess improving cards gained with Weaver into 5s could be a thing, but certainly it's not going to be in the opening. So I don't really want to mess with that. And the terminal collision risk, obviously is a thing. So I think it's Silver versus Ducat. Ducat gets us started on the coffers and keeps us like a little thinner. Makes it more likely that makes it less likely that we bottom deck the Priest. Silver makes it more likely that we hit 5. Uh, yeah, I'm not actually sure that hitting 5 quickly is that critical. It's like if I think about like if our first 5 is Swashbuckler, then we have like terminal space issues. If our first 5 is Sculptor, until we have villagers, it doesn't really synergize very well with the priest. I was talking about earlier, like what because we want to be able to do is play priest and then sculpt ducat and uh, get money off of that. But to do that, we either already need to have like played the sculptor once, or we need like a patron or something. Not that it would be bad to get a sculptor, just like regardless, but it it at least isn't like so clear that that's super high priority. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the ducat. Hmm. Do we even buy anything here? um. Like spending a coffer just to get a silver or another ducat does not seem good. Same with improve. I think the answer is no. Your first 5 is Piazza? You only have 1 action in your deck. Um. Alright, so it probably is Sculptor first. I mean, obviously the Sculptor and the Priest might not collide. Um, the alternative would be like to get an in now, which would help with sifting through the shuffle. So I mean, there is something to be said for that. It doesn't take very good advantage of ins on gain effect. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the Sculptor. So now we could take an in and shuffle it in. Uh-huh. And then potentially we get to sculpt a patron, play that. Like, which I slightly prefer to sculpting a silver to get a villager. The alternative would be to just take a swashbuckler now and then try to buy in next turn and shuffle in swashbuckler. That's probably actually better. Yeah. Really? Bullshit. All right. So here we do pretty much need to take silver, take in, and we discard. Shuffle all 3 of these in. Dang. Well, keep the ducat or would you keep the silver? We probably keep the silver, right? Because we're probably going to sculpt a ducat anyway. Seems very likely. Okay. Um, hmm. We blow all of our coffers to do another in swashbuckler, or I mean, do in the other order, but that is going to make it slower to get the chest, but I don't know that I would be super bothered about that, right? Because we haven't trashed that much yet, and we do have 2 ducats, so we could still potentially get as many as 4 coffers next turn. Or 5 if we sculpt another ducat. I think it's worth it. Okay, we do have a villager. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to play the priest before the sculptor. Well, that's not necessarily true. If we draw the other in, we bottom decked it. Yeah, that would have been helpful. Okay, so so we could just sculpt a silver here. It gives us more money with which to not spend our coffers. Or at least not spend more than maybe 2 of them. Alternatively, if we sculpt a ducat, we stay a little thinner. What do we want to buy? The other thing. So if we were to sculpt a ducat, we'd have 4, 5, 6 coins plus 5 coffers. If we were to sculpt a silver, we'd have 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 4 coffers. I think I'm going to go with the silver. I can't count. I forgot that I was going to trash a card with the priest. Okay. So definitely spending 1 coffer is fine. Maybe it's worth taking Piazza at this point. And then like a Weaver or a Patron. There is, I guess, the possibility that we reveal the Swashbuckler and that we're a little sad, but not that sad. Weaver or Patron. Got these 2 wins. One of them is top decked. I think I'm going to go with Weaver. Discard the 2 silvers. We've probably got... How much copper did we play last turn? And we played 2. We discarded 2. So we've still got plenty of copper in the deck. Okay. Ugh. Well, we do have in Swashbuckler Weaver on top. That's a pretty nice set of things. Adding just another, like turning, so if we sculpt a silver here, we basically turn a copper into a silver. We sculpt a ducat here. Well, no, that's not really true. I mean, we're going to trash out the priest, right? So then it's like, we either turn a copper into a silver or we turn 2 coppers into a ducat, kind of. I only want so many ducats, but I also maybe only want so many silvers. But I really would have liked to see another inn, be able to sculpt something that isn't a treasure. I guess I'm just going to take another silver. If we eventually end up priest-trashing these silvers, like, that's fine. Okay, we don't need to preserve our coffers now. I think... wonder about taking, like, another inn and another swashbuckler. Or possibly a scepter. I think the end of turn draw is not as flexible. I think swashbuckler in. All right, let's get a patron. Not gonna get a coffer off this swashbuckler, but that's okay. All right, so now do we want... we might want to keep both of these coppers, actually, so we can priest one and trash the other. So I guess we're discarding double silver. A little awkward, but... okay. Actually, me. Possibly we want to buy farmland here and turn this gold into a province. That last card, it's not a swashbuckler, it's not an inn, so it is presumably a treasure. Might be another ducat. The other thing we could do is just get, like, in swashbuckler again. And then start greening next turn. Well, maybe we want to spend some... like, we'll have 1 coin unspent if we just play the gold and buy swashbuckler in. Maybe it would be nice to get something else. Not really sure what. I mean, I guess it could be a scepter. Yeah, sure. Slowly scrolling. I don't know what is causing that. Somehow we still have the treasure chest. All right, I think I still want to try to keep the copper in here. Like we're pretty low on copper, I think, at this point. I think I want to keep the copper. I guess I could discard a ducat, though. We have a lot of those. You know, I added more draw to my deck to try to prevent this from happening. And yet. Alright, I guess we're going to take another patron. Or we could take the improve now. I mentioned about... Yeah, let's do that, actually. I'm thinking we just scepter the patron, get another villager, and then turn this gold into a province. With farmland. Keep the coffers. Oh, right. I don't have to choose to gain that. Okay. I mean, we do have a bunch of villagers. We could just take another swashbuckler. 5 coffers is expensive, but eh. Right, they did get the chest. Bah. I think we'll burn a villager here to activate multiple swashbucklers. Want to keep the farmland? Probably not. Burn another villager to activate this swashbuckler. The problem is, we got 6 cards in the discard. We've got this in that we want to play. I think we're just going to do it. It's pretty ugly, though. Pretty ugly, though. How is in worded when you gain this? So if we improve into in, we do get to shuffle. So I'm thinking it's maybe actually okay to trigger the shuffle here. Ugh, we didn't draw any of the green, though. That's unfortunate. We can scepter the swashbuckler as well. If we do that, we draw 3 out of 4 cards. So we'll see at least 1 ducat, if not 2. I'm thinking about whether I discard the ducat So we have, I think it's Ducat, province farmland down there. If we sculpt, oh wait, we're gonna discard the Weaver. Duh. So we could end up with as few as 2 buys. Unless we sculpt another Ducat, and what I'm wondering is, do we get more money that way? So if we priest a silver and sculpt a Ducat, priesting a silver is money neutral, and then sculpting a Ducat gives us 2 coins for the trash plus a coin for the Ducat itself. If we instead just priest trash the copper, that's plus 1 coin. And then having the silver in makes it 3 coins. And then if we sculpt another silver, it's more money, or a patron. It is more money, but it's also like making our deck control worse. But I might also just want to like sculpt a patron or something, assuming that I have the actions. Like, we'll Weaver for a patron. Two actions. We play patron doesn't cost an action, so we essentially have 3 actions with the villager, and with those 3 actions, we play sculptor, priest, improve. And if we sculpt a patron, yeah, we can do that. We end up going into next turn with not very many villagers, is the downside. Okay, I think I'm gonna do the sculpt a Ducat thing. Another patron. Patron. Use the silver. Sculpt. Ducat. We did not draw the farmland. So we could buy double farmland province here. The plan is then to improve I guess priest at this point, probably, into in, and shuffle that in. The nice thing about the double farmland province line is that it like the bot needs 3 provinces and additional points. How many golds does it have? There's 1 in the trash. There's 1 in my discard. That's 2, 3, 4. So it has 2 gold? That's surprising. Did it buy a gold? Like, I know it gained a gold. Maybe it took the chest the previous turn as well, and I didn't notice. So if it were to farmland 2 provinces, or 2 golds into province, it would then need to buy province duchy. I just don't think it has, like, the draw to get all that money. It does have a lot of coffers. But the other thing we could do is we could just take a duchy. We wanted to play it a little bit more safely. Or we could leave 4 provinces. I mean, okay, I think this seems... Oh, I forgot we would get money off of the farmland buys. That... is interesting. So we could get both the duchy and the inn. Specifically, we could go province inn, improve into duchy. Yeah, it would be shocking if that wasn't safe. I mean, do we even need to do that? They get 3 provinces. They're at 24. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Take the duchy. Oh, there's a patron down here. Do we want that in our starting hand? Probably not. Yeah. Okay. We do kind of want to hang on to this farmland as a way to, like, more easily empty. It's worth... I guess the farmland and the silver are worth about the same, really. Yeah. Okay. Is there any reason not to play the patron first? Is there any reason to play the patron first? I don't think it really matters. Where are the rest of our inns? Yeah, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. Drew 4 of our swashbucklers and no inns except the one that we top decked. Okay, well, we're still in a pretty good position farmlanding province to province. We actually didn't take chest back, interestingly enough. Yeah, that last turn was bad, but fortunately we built up a big enough lead. Yeah, mostly I think the bot did not put enough draw in its deck here. Obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning, like you're probably not going to have like a super clean deck. Like in Swashbuckler is not very good draw on the whole. Like, it's only moat level draw, and also you need to like line the cards up, and like if you know, you can end up with like, oh, I didn't have the right cards to discard with the in, and now I have, you know, like some of my better cards in the discard, and some of my worst cards in my hand, and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of downsides to that, but it's still, you know, it's still draw. The bot also just didn't get as clean, I think, because it didn't have as much draw. That Piazza, that like turn 3 or whatever Piazza, was a super weird choice. If Piazza discarded the top card of your deck, I could see it like a little bit more, where it's like, okay, this is gonna like cycle me through my deck, but it doesn't even do that. It just reveals it. So like turn 4, it does absolutely nothing, and it's like guaranteed to do absolutely nothing. And granted, like, I guess whatever else you would buy turn 3 wouldn't do anything either, but then you're going into the next shuffle with still literally 1 action. And somehow they revealed it, which is like actually bullshit. But there's like a 1 in, I mean, so they bought Priest, Ducat, so they have 11 cards, 10 cards, 10 cards. So they have a 10 card deck. So there's a 1 in 10 chance of this happening. Like, yeah, it's nonsense. I wonder how often it even hit the rest of the game. Yeah. So like there they got the next one that they got 5 turns later. I got one there. And they got one there. So actually I would say, okay, not there, but actually I would say they got pretty fortunate with the Piazza overall, considering when they bought it. And like it was gonna, you know, they got it turn 5 and they gain another action. So at this point they have 2 actions in their whole deck. You know, and then they don't see it like for a while. It makes sense. And then when they finally do start seeing it, like having it hit again, their deck was still not very action dense. So how many times did my Piazza hit, I wonder? I don't remember when I bought it. Turn 8. So turn 9, no. Turn 10, yes. Turn 11, yes. 2 for 3. 2 for 4. 2 for 5. And my deck, (11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And granted, this is with like more green than I had for most of that. Yeah, I mean, less gold maybe, but I would say my deck was closer to 50% actions. So yeah, it was a little bit under expectation. It still did some work, but anyway. Yeah, so overall, yeah, I do think just getting more draw here is good. The bot did the thing that it always does, which is store up like 1,000,000 coffers, and that is scary, but that's like the only reason that it had any threat at the end, was because it had all these coffers. It didn't really have anything else going for it. Yeah. Anyway, there you have it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.